Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today my guest is Julie Cole. She is the co-founder of Mabel's Labels, a blogger, and a mom of 6. How are you doing today, Julie?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Brad?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time and agreeing to be a guest on my show. I appreciate having you here.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here.
How's your day going so far?
So far, so good. You know, the sun is shining. The kids aren't annoying me. It's all good. I'm hiding in a bedroom with the door shut. They Beautiful. Don't know where I am.
There you go. There's the key, right? So not only are you a recovered lawyer, but you're a mom of 6 kids, a blogger, a vlogger, a sought-after speaker, and last but certainly not least, you're the co-founder of Mabel's Labels. Can you tell us a bit about Mabel's Labels and how that came about?
For sure. So Mabel's Labels started 17 years ago. I actually can't believe it's been that long.
Wow.
In some ways, it feels like a million years ago. In some ways, it feels like yesterday. You know how that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I started with 3 other women. One is my sister, one's a sister-in-law, and one is actually a young aunt. She married a young uncle of mine. So we're all friends from university.
Right.
So it's also sort of a family business.
Okay.
And we had our why. There were basically 2 reasons why we started Mabel's Labels. The first reason was that we noticed a product missing from the marketplace. So for those who don't know Mabel's Labels, what we do is we make very cute and very durable dishwasher, microwave, laundry safe labels, personalized labels for all the stuff kids lose. So imagine your kids going off to daycare or school or camp or even play dates and everybody's got the same stuff. And I know for us, like we were just tired of losing things and, and so we would use permanent marker or masking tape on our kids' belongings. And it just really was not doing the job. So we thought, we can do better than this.
Yeah.
And we thought, why don't we see if we can create a product that we know other parents just like us will love? So that was our first why. And then the second reason we started was at that point, I had my eldest child was 3 and he actually already had 2 younger sisters. So I was his mama anyway.
Yeah.
And my eldest son got diagnosed with autism.
Okay.
So at that point, I really just wanted to do the pivot, leave the traditional workforce. I didn't think working on a traditional legal career would necessarily suit the changing needs of my family. I wanted to be able to set up a program for my son. I needed to be able to advocate for him. So at that point, I said to the gals, I'm like, okay, guys, like, how's now for the time to start doing our label business? And they're like, let's do it. So we did, and we have not looked back.
Amazing. 17 years. Wow. Where does the time go? It just gets behind you so quickly.
It really does. And I do always like to also say that in the 17 years, we have obviously Mabel's Labels has grown to be, a loved product worldwide by parents. We've had a lot of success. We have a lot of employees. There's been a lot of great things. But I do like to also mention that my son, who is now 20, just finished second-year university.
Awesome.
He's today volunteering at the local food bank. He spent last summer in Africa doing a service trip.
Incredible.
He's got his driver's license. So lots of success for my guy, too.
That is so amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I'm really
so
proud.
Good. I'm sure, and so you should be. That's a lot of proud moments for a mama.
You got that right.
Good.
And I always say, I really am proud of him, and the other 5 are okay too.
Now, I read that you're a recovered lawyer. What does that mean? What is a recovered lawyer?
In just my way of saying I'm not doing that anymore.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't even need a 12-step program. I just left. Yeah, I'm good. No, it's funny. I think, the funny thing about a law degree is that I think in a lot of ways it does prepare you. Like, I was never planning to become an entrepreneur. But I will say, having had the training that I did and the experiences I had, it was helpful. Like, I was able to, put together a shareholders agreement, and, if somebody rips us off, I can send a cease and desist.
Yes, it helps you for sure. There's little things in there.
Yeah, little things in there. We all use I think most people who are entrepreneurs or have a side hustle are using some of the skills they had in their real jobs.
Yes, in their previous lives.
Exactly. So
How
the
long were you
going very well.
Good. I'm glad. How long were you a lawyer for?
Not that long, really, because I had done my undergraduate degree, and then I'd done a master's, then I went to law school, and then I was having kids. So I was probably just a couple years at it. Okay. My focus was family law. I was working actually for Women's Legal Service. That was my what I was passionate about. So I'd probably have been burnt out by now anyway.
Yeah. So how do you balance it all? Being a mom of 6, you write blogs and you vlog, and you're obviously an entrepreneur. So how do you balance all of that?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of like tips and tricks, but I think, for me right now, life has gotten a lot easier for me. My youngest child is 11.
Okay.
So, they're like 11, 13, 15, 18, 19, 20 kind of thing.
Right.
So, they're really awesome, independent. They're great kids. I have good teenagers. I don't get too much, eye rolling and door slamming. So, the fact that I'm able to, at this age, people who have little kids, I often hear parents of older kids saying, "Oh, enjoy it," because bigger kids, bigger problems. Yeah. But honestly, this is way easier. I'm not kidding. So all of you out there who are doing the side hustle with little ones, I'm telling you, it does get easier. It does not get harder. Eventually, they can get their own snacks. Yeah. They can do their own homeschooling, their own online learning. They can put themselves to bed if needed. Those sorts of things. So they bathe themselves, right?
It's less time consuming for sure for you as a parent.
For sure. And certainly there's emotional stuff, but I love great chats with my kids and whatever. But in those early days, for sure. I had my 5th kid when my oldest was 6.
Wow.
And I eventually got a nanny, but I got the nanny when my 5th kid was 1, and I often joke that I was 3 kids too late. So on getting the nanny. So I think that this is something that we often get in this route. We're like, okay, well, I'm going to do my side hustle as my full-time job. Yeah. And that way I can be with my family or whatever. And then we don't get the help we need. But to do all the things, we really do need help.
For sure.
So whether it's, I think for an entrepreneur, a small business owner, contractors are a great thing. I hate when I hear people spending a week doing their own taxes when, hire somebody can do it for you in an hour, and then you can spend the rest of your week doing what you do, what you're good at, either your photography or your whatever, sell your business, do all that stuff that you're good at. Yeah. So I think,
delegate, right? Delegation is key.
Absolutely. Getting help at work, getting help at home. Mm-hmm. And, I often talk about how, we have these great to-do lists, like giant must-do lists. And I would challenge people to have a do not do list. Like, what are you doing that you should not be doing? What can you give to a virtual assistant? What can you get your teenager to do? Like, I say I gave up unstacking a dishwasher several years ago. I've got kids who can unstack a friggin' dishwasher.
That's right.
My time is better spent doing other things. So put things like that on your do not do list and then commit to it and understand your value, right? Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes to balance too, like for me, I just really have kind of honored the fact that I don't have to be perfect at everything. I don't have to make perfect meals. If the kids have hot dogs 3 nights in a row, so be it. Nobody's had scurvy yet,
They'll live.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, that's right.
We all just expect too much. Like we expect our kids to be perfectly well in this whole isolation, COVID, homeschooling nonsense. Like, how really are working parents from home supposed to be doing an adequate job of homeschooling. And let's face it, we're not homeschooling. We're COVID schooling. I never signed up for homeschooling. This is not something I want to be doing and something I'm not qualified for.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to remember, if people, people who are homeschooling made that choice, and they usually have a lifestyle that can accommodate and fit that. So I know for me, it's all about lowering my standards a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I communicate with the teachers like, yeah, I'm going to get my little guy. We're going to get his math done and his spelling done. But as far as doing the virtual tour of the San Diego Zoo and writing a paper on an animal we didn't know about, never going to happen. Like, it's just not going to happen. And I just let the teacher know. And the teachers understand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're good. So
sometimes you just have to ask, right?
You do. So believe it or not, I think my biggest piece of advice around finding balance is to lower your standards.
I love it. I love it. Pretty simple and straightforward when you think about it. Just lower your standards.
Come on, we don't have to be perfect at everything. Right?
That's
right.
We
got a lot of balls in the air. And when we drop them, you know what? So be it. Pick it up, try again.
That's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and I certainly don't allow myself to feel guilty about this stuff. That's not worth it. I often say I gave up mom guilt 4 kids ago. I just, there's no time for it. It's not proactive. It doesn't help me in any way. It's an energy suck. So you know what? If I'm feeling a little off balance, I make changes.
I love
that's
it.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Awesome. What excites you about being an entrepreneur?
Look, there's what excites me. Okay, well, I'm going to say really the thing that's both exciting and annoying is that, well, so many things. One is that, like, that rush, right? Like when you're passionate about something, it's like your own little baby and you're watching it grow and you're nurturing it. The thing that's kind of cool too is that I found, like, with every step of Mabel's Labels, we would get that point where we knew what we were doing, and then we would experience change or growth. So then we would have to learn and change and expand and grow and do all those things. And it was so exhilarating. Yet, you would just, as soon as we got comfortable, there would be change. So I always say you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because there's always going to be change. And that is something that's very exciting about entrepreneurship. I know right now, particularly in these times, with all the physical distancing and the economy and the impact that's having on small business, I do want to say to everyone out there who's in that space, like, I know that these are hard times and we're struggling, but just want to remind you that, as entrepreneurs, like, you guys have grit. You guys have that appetite for risk. You know how, like, living feast or famine works. Yeah. So, this is your time. You're used to pivoting. And I know this is frustrating and I know this is a hard time, but you are built for this. If anyone, is going to get through this, it's you gritty entrepreneurs. So just kind of, do your best, try to stay positive, keep connecting with your peers who are also small business owners and sharing stories about pivoting and next steps and all that jazz. But just trying to remind yourselves that this is kind of your time to shine. If anyone can do this, you can.
I love it. I love that piece of advice. Thank you for that. Julie, if you could go back, would you change anything about how you did things in terms of your business?
Oh, good question. Look, I think there are some pros and cons to a lot of ways that we did things. So one thing I would say that can be super problematic, but also worked out really well for us, was having a partnership that was so big. There were 4 of us. And, you know what, for us, there were a lot of advantages. I felt like in the early days, we could really divide and conquer, one of us could research equipment. One of us could talk to banks. One of us could write press releases and work on marketing material. I find a lot of my solo entrepreneur friends, they're doing all of that, of course. Mm-hmm. So of course it takes longer to launch. They're maybe a little less nimble, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you guys could divide and conquer.
We could totally divide and conquer. And that was really, really helpful in those early days. I also felt it was advantageous around, I feel like when I thought I would have a great idea about something, and I could sit the three of them down, and they'd be like, whoa, 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 you haven't considered this, this, this,
Yeah.
this. And it'd be like, oh, right. Like I have my own sounding board. Whereas if I had been on my own, I may have just gone and done crazy things. So, and also like for us too, because we are also all managing, having babies and small children. If one of us had to go pop off and have a child, then the others could kind of cover.
Off and have a child. I love it.
Like if I had to push one out one day, somebody else could cover for me. So it was very, we could work very collaboratively that way and sort of cover for each other.
Yeah.
So that was great support. Now, having said that, in a situation with such a big partnership, you also have a lot of room for things to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We made sure we had a shareholders agreement in place very early on, and I recommend everyone do that while everybody's still friends.
Yeah.
Because, business divorce can be very ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting that shareholders agreement in place, and then always communicating and practicing communication. So you all probably have different communication styles. It's probably good to figure out how each other best receives information and try to accommodate that, just to make sure you're eliminating conflict. And you know what? When you get it wrong, remind yourselves that you're practicing, you're learning, and you'll get it better next time.
Right.
So, you know what? Would I have done it differently? No, I wouldn't have done it differently. It was great having the four of us, but I know business partnerships can be a huge complication, and I would advise that, anyone who's about to get into a business partnership, make sure you know who you're getting into bed with, make sure you've got that shareholders agreement in place, and then just always practice communication.
Well, it's like a marriage, right?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And, when there's money involved and, you can also, there's times where if you feel like there's the division of labor is not equal, then resentment can build, and then little tensions, and same with at home. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm changing all the diapers, right? So those, I just think keeping those lines of communication open are important.
Okay. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I think probably my perspective. I think that, I take my business very seriously. I take everything I do very seriously, but at the same time, I don't see myself as being so important.
Yeah.
You're
grounded.
At the end, it's like, I just think at the end of the day, this sounds a little bit negative, Nelly, and I don't mean to, because I actually am such an optimistic person. But at the end of the day, 100 years out, nobody's going to really remember me.
Yeah.
So, and even 2 generations out, maybe my grandkids will know me, but after that, so in what I'm doing, is it so important? And, I think about that at Mabel's, back to school season's insane. We're making labels 24/7. We got to get the labels out the door in 24 hours. And, we're running around with our hair on fire, and of course we need to do this. Of course we take our business seriously, all that jazz. But every once in a while, I'm just like, dudes, perspective. We're not saving lives here. We're making labels. We haven't pulled out the defibrillator, and we're not doing the Heimlich maneuver. We make labels.
I
you know what I'm saying?
I love how humble you are, and that attitude will go a long way.
Well, it's funny. I often tell the story. I have this grandmother. She only died a couple years ago, and she was 101. And she was the real character, and she was real feminist too. She very much was proud of us for starting this company, and she came from an entrepreneurial mother herself who owned a farm and pub in Ireland back in the day, and she always said to us, Julie, you're as good as the rest of them and better than none.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great lesson.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say to date is your biggest high or your greatest win?
Oh, wow. So professionally, personally, okay. As far as Mabel's labels, I'm going to say a couple things felt really, really great. We always kind of thought our biggest win was the day that our last partner quit her day job. And it was like, we can all pay ourselves a salary that is comparable to what we were bringing in in our previous, lives and our day jobs.
Yeah.
So that felt pretty good when 4 people could draw a salary.
Mm-hmm.
It also feels pretty amazing to actually have a staff. With that comes a huge sense of responsibility. And, especially these times, trying to pivot to keep them working and that sort of thing. But to know that you're providing employment and that people are, saving and paying mortgages and feeding their families based on, a company that you started and being able to provide employment, that feels pretty cool. I also really like when we won the Women Entrepreneur of Canada Award there a few years ago. That was pretty special. I'm going to say, like that felt pretty awesome too.
I'm sure to be recognized among your peers.
Yeah, exactly. And to have, just contributed to the economy financially. We had done so well, and we had hired so many, wonderful, often women. And parents. So and just providing a great work environment for them, it feels pretty special.
No doubt.
So there's a lot of things that feel great. And of course there's a lot of things that, we messed up and learned from and did better next time. But, we didn't really spend a lot of time dwelling on those. Like what we try to do is when we make a mistake, we try to learn from it. I think that was probably one of our early errors was, repeating mistakes. Mm-hmm. So then it got to the point where we're like, okay, we need process in place so that we stop repeating mistakes. So then we did, we put a little project management team together, and after every major product launch, we meet and we autopsy it, like what went well, even better if, and then we revisit that before we do another product launch to make sure that we don't repeat our mistakes. So,
right.
Learning and making changes, I think is a pretty big win as well.
For sure. I mean, that's all part of the journey as an entrepreneur, right? You have to be able to fail and learn from your failures and mistakes.
Absolutely.
And not give up.
Yeah, that's key. But also, having said that, I think there is a time when you need to give up. I think that, you need to be paying attention to your business plan. Yeah. You need to be paying attention to what's happening. Like, back in the day, like when we were doing Mabel's labels in those early years, I was making labels till 2 a.m. in my sister's basement. I was going home. I was pregnant with my 4th kid. I'd get up at 6 a.m., raise these 3 babies, go back to the basement, make labels again till 2 a.m. It was a gong show. It was a gong show. And that is, how it worked then. It's 17 years later. If I was still in the basement making labels, that is a colossal fail.
Yes.
So you need to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it's ideal if you can fail fast and move on, right?
For sure.
And sometimes, I often say too about don't cling to a mistake because you spent a long time making it. We have this habit of pouring more energy into something we've already poured a lot of energy into. Sometimes you need to know when to walk away. So I do think, look at what your business is doing, what your plans are. Of course, your business plan is going to be a working document, and there's going to be changes, particularly at a time like, this. But I think there are times when you need to know when to step away. But certainly, that point around, entrepreneurs being gritty and having resilience and having that appetite for risk is what keeps us going.
For sure. I want to go down a little bit more of a personal road as opposed to business. I've just got some questions for you that are a little more on the personal side. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise that I love? Okay, well, I will say that I'm very good at tuning out noise that's really disruptive, which is why I was able to build a business working from home with all these kids. But I do love I know a lot of people do come in my house, so they find it too noisy. I've got a sister who's an introvert, and she's a single girl, never had kids. She'll come over and she's like, "Oh, Julie, she'll be here for like half an hour," and she'll be like, "This is gonna take me 2 days of energy, like recovery." But I love it. I love all the noise in the background. I love the laughing. I could do without the bickering, but I love the sound of a full house, which is why I created one.
There you go. What's something you've failed at?
Oh, failed at. Wow, that's a big question. Um, I don't really feel like I've failed at anything, honestly. Like, obviously, like, I've made mistakes and I've learned from them and I do better, but that's pretty much it. Like, if I make a mistake, like, I just say sorry and do better the next time. I don't know that I would have anything that I would put in that category, honestly. Right. And I don't know, like, I think we need to kind of stick to the whole, there are no failures, only lessons.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
What's a passion of yours that you rarely share with people, and why not?
Oh, wow. A passion. I suppose, well, I don't think there's anything that I rarely share with people because I'm very much out there.
Okay.
I lead a very, transparent life. I've been a parenting blogger for 15 years. I'm a media personality. I have TV crews in my house often. So
an open book.
Yeah, I'm pretty much an open book. I am very passionate, though, about unrelated to sort of obviously my kids, and I'm very passionate about things that impact them. I have a queer child. I'm very passionate about, I'm part of Mom Hugs, and I have a flag. I have a rainbow flag waving right in front of my house. And I have a child with autism, so I'm very involved in the autism community. So I'm passionate about all the things that impact my children, of course, my family. I'm passionate about parenting issues. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, but I'm also very passionate about women's issues.
Yeah.
And community events. I'm very involved in a bunch of community organizations, and I volunteer quite a bit of time to those causes. And I try to, where I could actually best help a lot of them at this point is by amplifying their message through my social media channels, or writing about them, or even retweeting their stuff. So I try to really give that way.
Using your powers for good.
Right. I think that, we all have ways we can contribute. Yes, no, I'm not going to be able to help them with their finances or do their end of year whatevers, but what I can do is offer them advice around PR and help them with their marketing plan and amplify their voices and share with my communities. So I am very passionate about that.
Awesome. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I think when I'm feeling really connected with my kids, and when I feel like I'm on top of things as a parent, when I'm connecting with other entrepreneurs, I think particularly in this time, I know, and I would give the advice to other entrepreneurs that, especially you solo entrepreneurs, this can be very isolating, this journey, particularly now when, if you happen to be in retail or your service industry and you can't actually see your clients, or, that can be very disheartening. I would say be sure to be connecting with other entrepreneurs. Do things like listen to podcasts like this, get on Zoom meetings, connect on Facebook Lives, do those sorts of things, because I think particularly for the solo entrepreneurs, which can be such an isolating journey, staying connected will help keep you inspired when times are tough. And I think that applies particularly now.
Sure, I would have to agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Thank you for that. Who are the 3 people that have been most influential in your life, would you say?
That's really interesting. I know most entrepreneurs would probably talk about some famous entrepreneur, business owner, like a Steve Jobs or Oprah, or like somebody who's created their own brand. But I actually have found that the women closest to me have probably been my most inspirational. I spoke a little while ago about my grandmother. She's one of 21 children.
Wow.
My great grandmother in Ireland. And she was born ahead of her time. And she provided a lot of wisdom and insight and a lot of lessons and a big heart. And expressions, like I said, the last expression, she had a million of them, and they were just, you just hung on to every word. Sitting around that kitchen table with cups of tea and the odd game of euchre, you would hold on to every word.
Yeah, for sure.
Also my mother, her daughter, my grandma's daughter is my mother. And part of the inspiration she gave was she was unbelievable. She never complained. And I just found that that's so inspirational. If there was a problem, she wouldn't whine or complain, or she'd be like, okay, let's find a solution.
Yeah.
And that really rubbed off on all of us. And I feel like the 4 kids, like I'm one of 4 kids, we're great problem solvers. We have great attitudes. I don't sit around and whine about being tired because, it's never led to me getting more rest. So if I'm tired, I make a change. And nobody really likes a whiner. Nobody wants to hear anyone complain. That's just boring, really. So I feel like there were a lot of lessons that she taught me. And really the big one, probably 2 around parenting. One was that you can bark all you want to your kids about how you want them to act, but role modeling this parenting gig is all about role modeling. So if you don't want complaining, whining kids, don't be a complainer and a whiner.
Lead by example.
Lead by example, right? And then the other parenting one that she goes, I don't treat you all the same, because by doing that would not be treating you fairly. And it's true. By treating, my kids are all different.
Yeah.
There's 6 different kids with 6 different needs, and 6 different parenting styles that apply to them. Yeah. So to be treating them equally would be to be treating them unfairly. So I remind myself of that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I am inspired too, just like if I'm going to say a third, like, my sisters and my aunties and my and I have a knack for picking good friends. Yeah. Right? I saw the good people. It's that whole, if you're the smartest person in the room, find yourself a new room. Like, I really take that to heart. I surround myself with smart, inspiring people. I don't hang out with toxic people. If somebody's like not cool, then they're gone.
See you later. They get the axe.
Yeah. People on social media, if you see them being a little bit of a troll or being and it's like, and I don't let that stuff keep me up at night. I think about the people who, I want to hold close and what their opinions are. Why would I care about an anonymous, nameless, faceless person on the internet?
Exactly.
What they have to say to me. So again, that's a perspective thing. I know that's very hard for people to do, is to not let the noise get to them. But I really try not to, because it's pointless.
Yeah, it is.
They're not worthy.
No, they're not. Absolutely. No. As to quote Wayne,
I would say consider the source. Consider the source.
For sure.
If it's some anonymous person on Twitter, that's not somebody who gets your ear.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
One word. Oh, I don't know. Is there one word for this? I'm trying to think. I don't know what that word would be, honestly. I think, just kind of like what I talked about earlier about the perspective, maybe just sort of down to earth, just kind of, it is what it is, just kind of real. Maybe it's real. Okay. Maybe it's just real is that word. Like, that's why I think, I'm relatable to so many people, because there's just it just is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just is.
If you were guaranteed the correct answer to one question, what would you ask?
Really? One question,
just
the correct answer?
Yep.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm actually, this is so weird, but and this reminds me of, I'd have to go to my list. I've got a list of questions that they're just so random that I just want to know the answer to. And nobody has the answer for me. I always thought, well, if I died and there is a God, when I go there, I'm going to be like, okay, you got to answer me this. And there's stupid things where did that pair of sunglasses go? And I know, one of my kids, this is so weird. One of my kids had this doll, which is called an American Girl. And they're kind of like this expensive doll. We got it when we were in New York. She was there for a business trip with me. And we went to this stupid American Girl place, and you buy your American Girl and blah, blah. And we had this massive party. We have these massive parties in my house. So we had this massive party, and her American Girl went missing. This is 10 years ago. I'm on my list. I want to know who took the American Girl. So you think I'm going to ask this really big,
deep question?
Deep question. I want to know where the sunglasses are, the American Girl. I got questions like that I'm burning at me.
The burning questions for Julie. I love it.
I don't want to know, like, the big earth.
What happens when we die?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Awesome. I just want to know where the doll went and where my sunglasses are.
Yeah. Which neighborhood brat stole that from my house?
Yeah.
And which mom didn't find out and return it? I want to shame people. I want to bring them down.
Yeah. I love it. What does the word empowerment mean to you, and how do you empower your children or teach them about empowerment?
Yeah. Look, there's I find empowerment to be such, again, the role modeling. Mm-hmm. I make sure that they see, it's pretty cool for them to see a mom who started a business and who's worked hard and seen it grow. Like, they're really proud, and they've been a part of that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they've been making labels, they've been licking envelopes, they've seen that, and I know that they're going to take those lessons into adulthood. Mm-hmm. I also try to empower them to be voices of change. Like, we went to an anti-racism march, our family. We go to Gay Pride every year. Like, we go out and we talk about important things. Like, we have hard discussions. We debate. We talk about social issues. Mm-hmm. And, having these conversations is very empowering, because they do feel like, even in little ways, that they have some power to change the world to be a better place. So, through role modeling and through involving them in social justice issues, I feel I have empowered them.
I love it. What is one of your favorite quotes?
Okay. I've got a few. You can always throw out the Mayas, or that, like, everybody's got some great quotes and stuff. But I've got a quote hanging on my wall at work. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know where it's from. It hung on one of my auntie's walls for ages. She was a very busy mama of a lot of kids and was a professional. And I put that on my wall, and it says, so silly, but it says, "Don't tell me I'm burning the candle at both ends. Get me some more wax." So, I guess, like, the point, like, you know what? I know I'm doing all the things. I know a lot of you people think it's crazy, but you know what? Rather than telling me I'm doing things wrong, just help out. Like, join the revolution, man.
I love that. So
there we are. There's my quote. Yeah.
How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
Well, I think this is where I would throw in a Maya Angelou quote. That success is liking myself, liking what I do, and liking how I do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, yeah, right. I don't know. I don't know that I would have anything really significant to say. I feel like, all the things my younger self did, they were pretty cool. I quite honor. It's a funny question. I don't think this is something I've ever verbalized before, but I actually kind of find it annoying when people kind of make fun of their younger self, mm-hmm. or kind of diss their younger self. Like, I would never actually, like, post a picture of myself and be like, "Oh my God, look at my big hair." Like, I just don't do that to myself.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. Like, I've never really I've never said it out loud, but, I honor that, she did things, that made me who I am. And really, there were a lot of great choices. There was a lot of adventure. There was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And all of that brought me to where I am today. So, you know what? Like, literally, no regrets.
Okay. And lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
Oh, geez, seriously?
Yeah.
What would that last 30 seconds sound like?
Doesn't have to be exactly 30 seconds.
Yeah, I guess, like, just generally my message would be, we're here for like, I don't even know what the number of years is these days. Is it 78 years, 84
Something like
years,
that,
whatever,
yeah.
something like that. We're running around in circles for 78 years and then it's over. So, that's all we've got. So you might as well enjoy it. Like, I see everybody so stressed out and thinking so much about what they think is important. And it's just not. So I would say, just take time, think about what makes you happy, do that, really consider what is and what is not important to you. And just it's kind of like that live in the dash, right?
Yeah,
like I'm born 1971, say I die next year. What happened in that dash in between 1971 and 2021? Because that's all that really matters.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for being here and being a guest today, Julie, and sharing your entrepreneurship story, your wisdom, your insights. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I appreciate you sharing your story or part of your story with us.
Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I really enjoyed that conversation.
It's been amazing. Thank you. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. My guest today was Julie Cole. She's the co-founder of Mabel's Labels, a blogger, and a mom of 6. Thanks again, Julie. I hope you have a wonderful day today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.